Welcome back, Flare community. So many legends in the house already. We've got Moon Chicken coming in first. Doc Bob D in the house. Duncan VM. Dillinger Beats representing. We've got Kryptonaut. And yo, Kryptonaut, I actually sent over your NFT yesterday. So I hope you received it all well. We've got Grumpar in the house. Nice to see you guys. And Brad Garlingson as well. Classic. So today I just want to go over some this recent AMA. It was actually last week, but I think many people may not have actually seen it, and there was some very interesting questions and answers, and we definitely got a little bit of further insight into how the Flare network works and also the Songbird network. Here's JK coming in late. Well, much later than usual, and Robert too. So yeah, we're just going to go through this AMA. I'm going to elaborate on some of the answers. Moon Chicken in the house, coming with the 100 bomb. Keep up the great work, Flare community. Thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate it. There's the 100 bomb from the legend, the man, the myth, the Moon Chicken. Thanks a lot, man. Very much appreciated. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Hold up, let me see if I can. Yeah, that's a little bit easier to read for you guys. Okay, so this was an AMA hosted on Reddit, and I did ask some questions myself, and there was also some good questions from other people as well, and we're going to go through them today. Bread time stories, any chance of another snapshot? Sadly not. I'm actually going to release a video tomorrow with this flowchart that I've been working on, which basically takes everyone through the process of the four different airdrops that you're going to get as a XRP holder for the Flare snapshot. So stay tuned for that. Okay, let's jump at it with question one. This one was asked by myself. And I said, Songbird is obviously a hot topic at the moment. I was curious to know more about the governance. I'm aware that there are various thresholds for holders of the Spark token to pass certain proposals, such as the amount of Spark token holders voting and the percentage of Spark holders who agree. Will the Songbird network use similar thresholds as defined in the Flare white paper, regarding governance? Now, sometimes on various different votes, depending on what the change is, you may have various majority decisions. And the example that I gave here was a simple majority requiring 30% of the Spark token holders to vote, with at least 50% in agreement. Now, just as a brief interruption, I would like to thank Grumpar very much for that $50 bomb. Very generous of you, my friend, and you know, it's great to have you as part of the family. Hey, Channely's in here as well. The room's filling up nicely. Thank you very much, both Moon Chicken and Grumpar. Very much appreciated. So this was a really interesting answer we had here from Hugo, and Hugo says the Songbird has more limited governance than Flare, specifically because Songbird is where governance changes that are passed by the Flare token holders are implemented first. In this sense, the Spark token exerts governance over Songbird. So basically what this means is, as a holder of the Spark token, you're going to be able to vote on these various governance changes, and that could be parameters for, say, example, the inflation amount, or well, it could be anything really. There's many different things that we can vote on in newly integrated F assets and all that good stuff. And what Hugo is alluding to here is the fact that these changes, or particularly the changes what might affect certain protocols like the FTSO or the F asset system, are actually going to be implemented on Songbird first. Now, that sort of means that, or what I'm sort of getting from this reply is that Songbird is not going to have much of a governance system. It's more going to be on Fleur, and then the changes are going to be rolled over to Songbird. Notorious with the $199, thank you very much. Very much appreciated and glad to have you here. And even we have Scarbo in here as well, coming in late. You know, I am streaming a little bit later than usual, but it's always a pleasure to sort of have a different audience. You know, I know that the Fleur community is definitely global, and I appreciate you all joining me today. So this was one of my favorite answers, actually, and we definitely got some information from that. So I did ask a number of different questions, and the next one that I asked is, it's essential that the Fleur network data providers remain somewhat decentralized to maintain the integrity of the data being outputted by the FTSO or STSO, one being the Fleur time series oracle and the other being the Songbird time series oracle. If a data provider was to gather a large amounts of votes, giving them more weight in the FTSO or STSO price output, do you think their payout success could incentivize even more Spark holders to delegate their votes to said data provider, essentially centralizing the process? And what I'm really trying to get at here is, we know that people, or the holders of the Spark token, are going to delegate to the data providers who are very accurate. You know, they want to see a return on their investment, and it sort of was running through my mind that if people all collude to the major data providers, then the actual power of the data provider will be increased, because if they're giving the most votes and giving the most weight, it's very likely that their price estimate would have a higher ranking. It would like sort of lie somewhere close to the median. Hey, what's up, Martin? Glad to see you here, man, and I'm so happy that your channel's really doing well. I've seen it go from strength to strength recently, and you know, I think you're doing a really great job. It's a pleasure to have you here as well. And this is something that we actually learned from this AMA. Hugo replies, there is a cap, on the total percentage of votes any singular data provider can amass. So this is going to definitely limit the overall power. It cannot really become monopolized by a certain data provider, because that was one of my worries, and this is really reassuring to hear. The fact that data providers can really, there's still going to be a number of different data providers that can compete, and I'm really intrigued to see how the data providers are really going to offer different incentives and different commission rates. Is going to be really interesting. And in fact, I do know of a data provider, and I wouldn't like to say who they are. It's probably one of the lesser known ones, but this particular data provider is actually willing to accept zero commission, so they will essentially be running their service for free. And I think that mechanic is going to be very interesting indeed. So we're going to wait and see as we get closer to the time to see what data providers and what commission rates they're all going to give. My third question, which I asked, there are many plans for the Fleur team. Sorry, are there any plans for the Fleur team to release open software for agents wishing to provide collateral for the Fleur network, or would this be bespoke software built by the agents themselves? So the way that the data providers work, they have their own bespoke and their own sort of secret sauce for calculating the average price of given assets. And I was curious to know if this was something similar with agents. And it seems that it is. Hugo replies, there's no plans and it wouldn't be advisable. A single model for agent behavior would be enforced or encouraged by a singular piece of successful software is likely less robust and highly diverse behavior. So he's basically saying, just like the FTSOs, it's great to have that variety. And, you know, I sort of asked this question for those who may be looking to become agents in the future, but we do know that in general, it's better to have this robust and this diversification between the software that are implementing this behavior. So it's unlikely for the average person who wants to become an agent, it's unlikely that they will be able to. You're going to have to provide software that's either develop it yourself or outsource it and go with that. And you're likely to require a very large sum of these particular assets to provide collateral. So I just thought I would clear that up. And this is something a question which I asked in regards to a project that I was actually interested in. And so also Doc Bob D, if you're actually in the chat, you might find this one interesting as well, because I think we had a similar idea. My last question, will Flare be hosting public API endpoints to extract data results for the FTSO and STSO? For example, the amount of votes the data provider has, their success rate, the FTSO output, etc. It would be great to monitor these kind of statistics. I imagine the statistics would be given by the data providers themselves individually, but I thought I would ask as it would be very useful for a single endpoint with all the collated data provider information. So the reason that I asked this was because I was considering building a website where you can sort of track the various data providers and their success rate. I imagine that each individual provider are going to publish this data, but I thought it would be incredible to try and bring all of them together and have it on one particular site. Hugo releases this information. We don't have a decision on that yet. We may do in the early days, but we really encourage others to do so and certainly encourage each application to do so. Again, a broad, diverse base of infrastructure providers is more robust than a single data provider. Which is fair, you know. I thought I would ask, and that's what we got. So we'll see. Maybe that project is on hold, or maybe if I do go ahead with this project to collate all the data, I may have to contact various data providers individually. So this question, number 5, which I assume is asked by Crypto Eddie, and she asks, what's the most effective way, in your opinion, to get the exchanges that are sitting on the fence in regards to distributing Songbird move to supporting and participating? And Hugo replies, I think it really makes sense for people to just ask nicely. Be positive about the project and the utility it brings, and not to shout names at exchanges. All the exchanges will receive the token anyway, and really, they aren't likely to just sell it off for their own profit, if Songbird is so popular and robust. Any exchange that doesn't distribute the token now may do so in the future. So for all those who held XRP on an exchange at the time of the snapshot, you may or may not be eligible to receive the Songbird token, and that entirely depends on the exchange. It's up to their discretion. The Songbird token will be distributed to all of the XRP wallets, whether that was an exchange wallet or a self-custody wallet, and you know, it's really up to the exchange. Now, I'm pretty sure the Flare community caused some sort of whirlwind of presence on Twitter, at least, and many of these exchanges are still sitting on the fence. And you know, you shouldn't say that we are, you know, how should I put this? You shouldn't be demanding your Songbird tokens, because if I'm honest, you don't have any right. If you held XRP in your own wallet, then you have the right and you will receive it. But as you've sort of taken faith in the exchange and you're hoping that they will distribute it, this may or may not happen. And I think it's a real eye-opener for those who may have held their XRP on an exchange, and which is one of the reasons why I always advocate holding your assets in your own wallet, and then you are in complete control. Now, we also do have various XRP snapshots which are coming up, and just as it's important to hold your XRP in your own custody, you should definitely consider this in regards to these future snapshots, because these exchanges may or may not be in support of that. So I think it's very important to mention. And as Moonchicken says here, not your keys, not your coins. And that's entirely the point. And just to elaborate on this a little bit further, this is one of the fundamental reasons for blockchain coming into existence. You know, when you have money in the bank, you don't really own it until it's in your hand. The banks can just provide these numbers on the screen, and for whatever reason, they could freeze your accounts. And it's the same with exchanges. If you hold the assets in your own wallet, you are in control of it completely. Okay? So let's move on to some other questions. Will there be any more tokens supported at launch, like Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash? Or will all future token support have to be voted through governance? Are there any pros or cons for technical requirements not to support the largest crypto, Bitcoin, at launch? And Hugo says, we don't have any more team bandwidth to do more integrations prior to launch. The rest will come through governance. I'm not sure what that means. I'm going to say regarding Bitcoin, it is of course desirable to integrate at some point, and I suspect a governance vote would likely win. If anyone knows in the chat what that actually stands for, please do let me know, because I'm curious. Yes, so we know that the governance vote is going to be the gate for new F assets to be implemented, and I think the front runners at the minute are both Cardano or ADA and also Algorand. I think they're going to be some of the initial proposals, and obviously Bitcoin as well, with it being non-Turing complete, meaning it doesn't have smart contract functionality, and it also has the biggest market cap. Could really bring some big attention to the Flare network. So we'll see how that goes. If we bought an IOU, could we still get the Songbird token by moving them into our self-custody wallets? Now, the IOU is not the Spark token, and regardless, unfortunately not, the Songbird token goes to those who registered for the distribution via the XRP ledger on the 12th of the 12th, 2020, last year. Oh, thank you, Martin, coming with the knowledge right there with regards to. I'll have to remember that for next time. So, I've got a flowchart coming out for this about the airdrops. You know, if you're holding an IOU, it does not make you eligible because the IOU is just an IOU, and the Songbird token is based on the XRP snapshots, which occurred on this date here. A further reply, thank you, Hugo. Yet we can claim why Flare when the time comes from purchasing the IOU with DFLR, correct? And Hugo replies, why FLR is Flare Finance, so I'm not 100%, but as the IOU would convert to the Spark token, you would be holding the Spark token when the smart snapshot is taken for YFlare. So basically, if you are holding the IOU, this will eventually get created or swapped for, the Spark token. Now, the Flare Finance snapshot is based on your Spark holdings. So if you're holding Spark at that time, any Spark you may accumulate before this snapshot will make you, or will increase your allocation for the Flare Finance snapshot. And this snapshot takes place 30 days after the Flare network launches. And as I said, I've got a spreadsheet, not a spreadsheet, sorry, a flow chart, which should come out tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. For those unfortunate to be claiming the airdrop via an exchange not willing to distribute Songbird to their eligible customers, could there be some kind of alternative option available for them? Or are they just completely out of luck? So just to sort of reiterate what I said before, not willing to distribute Songbird to their eligible customers. The customers are not eligible, if I'm honest, because the exchange never agreed to distribute Songbird. The eligible, the participating exchanges agreed to distribute the Spark token. So no one is eligible to receive the Songbird token if they hold their XRP on the exchange. Okay. Hugo says, no, not really, but your exchange will have the token regardless and will be able to distribute them at any time if it decides to do so. So that's something else to consider. The exchanges, they're going to receive this regardless. And at a later date, they may choose to distribute it. They already have the snapshot information from obviously calculating how much Flare or how much Spark people are due to receive. So it's definitely a possibility. And I think it might be very interesting, and something that I'm also thinking about is looking at these exchanges and seeing if they do actually, if I'm able to get the linked Ethereum address, which would eventually become the Songbird and the Flare address. I'd be interested to see if any exchanges just straight up sells them, because I think that would be a really bad move if someone was to find out this information. It wouldn't look very good for the exchange, and it would definitely hurt their reputation. Raphael, who should the eligible customers be? An eligible customer, or people that are going to receive the Songbird token, is people that held XRP in their wallets. If you gave your XRP to an exchange, you held it in their wallet. If you held it in self-custody, you held it in your own wallet. So basically, the Songbird token is going to be distributed to all of the XRP wallets. And this is the point. So the people who, the ratio is not 1-to-1, but I'm not sure of the figure off the top of my head. But basically, if you deposit your assets to an exchange, you're holding it in their wallet. So that would mean that the exchange is eligible to receive them. Now, morally, you can decide whether it's right or wrong. I would personally say it's wrong to keep them. But at the end of the day, the exchanges have no responsibility to distribute a token, which they never agreed to distribute. So moving on, we go to question 9. Will there be a general rewards pool for S assets on Songbird? There is not one planned currently, potentially a subject for Songbird governance. So that's interesting. We already knew that there's not going to be a pool originally, because it's only going to be the 15% at launch. Moonchicken, Songbird price prediction. I don't actually give price predictions. I think price prediction is more an easier way of saying a guess. What's your guess? Because at the end of the day, no one really knows. I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Marco, I believe this is FTSO Marco, FTSO EU. Will Songbird have a testnet? There will be a general testnet for Songbird and Flare, and I think Hugo is referring to the Coston testnet. So there's going to be 3 different networks running in parallel. You're going to have Songbird, which is the canary network for the Flare network, which is basically the main network. And the Songbird network is going to be able to test various functionality in almost like a production ready environment with real value. But then there's also going to be the Coston testnet, or this general testnet. I imagine it will still be called Coston. And this allows people to really interact with the network in a completely risk-free manner, because the tokens are going to have no value. Everything you test on there, it doesn't hold any value. And that's the reason why we have this Songbird network, because it really adds another dimension, because no one's really going to try and maliciously attack the Coston testnet, because there's no incentive, right? It's not going to be thoroughly tested. But with the Songbird network, it's going to hold value. So just like any any network which launches, there's going to be malicious actors out there trying to find loopholes or bugs in the code which will allow them to extract this value. And doing this on Songbird is really going to allow the Flare network to be really robust when it launches. I mean, the various bugs and all these problems that may or may not arise can be initially launched on the Flare network. And it's very important to note that any software that you build, it's very unlikely that it's going to be bug-free. And, you know, there's no amount of testing that you can do on, say, the Coston testnet that will prepare you for a real-world environment. And I think it's a great stepping stone to go from the Coston testnet to Songbird network, and then finally to Flare. And that's why many applications will actually be launching on Songbird first, or it's advisable for them to do so. So, question number 11. Why don't you just distribute 100% of the Spark token? Because the probability of some exchanges closing down before the end of the 3-year period is high. And again, this is something what we go back to where if you're depositing your XRP onto an exchange for the snapshot, you're putting your faith in the exchange, okay? The feedback we have had from the crypto markets, traders, exchanges, etc. is that the plan to distribute over many months is very sensible. A flood of liquidity at day one does not lead to good long-term results, and would not carry the participation incentives such as the Flare Time Series Oracle, F assets, liquidity absorption that are baked into the existing distribution plan. And this existing distribution plan really does incentivize those who participate early. And there's a full blog post on this on the Flare website. It's flare.xyz. I encourage anyone that may have this particular question as well. I'd encourage anyone to check that out. Yes, there are likely some exchanges that will fail over the period. Yes, there will likely be some exchanges that fail. Whilst this would be sad, the health of the network and growth of the ecosystem is more important than individual token holders. Additionally, the plan for lengthy distribution was known prior to the snapshot. Excuse me. If people were concerned about it, they could have removed their tokens from the exchange, and that basically summarizes my thoughts there. You know, if you was worried about it, that you could have always held it in your own custody and had full control. It was made very apparent at the time that the distribution period would last 2 to 3 years. Where and how will Spark holders change their tokens for wrapped Spark? This is done through smart contracts on Flare. Good wallets will enable this directly in the wallet app, and I believe the Decent wallet has confirmed to give this functionality where you can wrap your Spark tokens into wrapped Spark tokens, and that will allow you to delegate your vote essentially. Can you elaborate more on the idea propy? I'm not sure how to read that. Can you elaborate more on Proppy. Let's just leave it at that. Is it going to be a possibility to utilize that ability for real estate? So for those of you who don't know, I actually made a video on this a fair while ago now. And I feel like Proppy may be in talks with the Flare network. So let me just give you a quick rundown about Proppy. So Proppy is a real estate agent which is on the blockchain. So it's putting up your house for sale as an NFT, and you can buy and sell houses and all that good stuff on the blockchain. And to prove ownership of your house, you would have access to the wallet which holds the house NFT. And Proppy currently is running on the Ethereum network. And as we know, the Ethereum network implements ERC20 functionality and all this good stuff, and they implement the Ethereum virtual machine, which is also running on the Flare network. So these smart contracts will be able to be ported over very easily. And I'm very intrigued to see what comes of this partnership, if indeed there is a partnership. Hugo just replies, this is really a question for Proppy. So question 14, I think we've got 20 questions. Some of these are quite fast now, so let's quickly go through these. For those who self-custody their XRP, when can we expect instructions or tutorials on how to set up a wallet and get the Spark tokens? Thank you. With regards to setting up wallets, would generally release these guides. We will be helping them understand the Flare Time Series Oracle and F asset systems so that they can make good content. All the wallets that are supporting Flare and Songbird should have some good guides, really, with Bifrost likely being the leader in content as we work very closely with them. Though I can vouch for Decent do a great job explaining aspects of Flare, and our relationship with Ledger is very good. So I believe that these are the three main wallets that you guys should look out for. You've got Bifrost, which is a software wallet, meaning it's not an actual physical device. You've got Decent, which is a biometric hardware wallet, meaning you've got to sign in with like a thumbprint or a fingerprint. And then you have Ledger as well, which is probably the most popular hardware wallet to date. I think they had the first mover advantage. I would hope that there would be some good material around the time of the Songbird launch. And yeah, I'm going to be creating tutorials on all three of these. I have a Decent wallet, I have a Ledger wallet, and I'm also going to get the Bifrost wallet when that comes out. So you don't have to worry about that. I'll be making three hopefully very clear and concise videos to help you guys. Question 15, is it mandatory for decentralized applications to launch on Songbird before launching on Flare? No, nothing is mandatory that would make it centralized, but testing on Songbird is encouraged and likely a great way for decentralized applications to build trust. And that's as I mentioned earlier. Question 16, because of the decentralized apps being tested on Songbird, will this give Flare networks the comfortability to activate the F asset systems quickly after the Flare network launch? Short answer, yes. So basically, Songbird is going to be testing this functionality of the F asset system and also the Flare Time Series Oracle. And giving this thorough testing over the period until the Flare network launches, it's going to allow them to basically launch with a little bit more confidence and introduce these systems much sooner than expected. I believe Hugo initially said it's going to be around 6 weeks before the F asset system launches on the Flare network. That's after the launch, but it seems that that's actually going to be a little bit quicker now because the majority of the testing will actually be done on Songbird. So that's always good news too. What is the benefit for Flare Network to purchase Gala Games' Citadel of the Moon? And this is for the Mirandus game. Now, Go Gala Games, they've actually created this game called Mirandus, and this is an NFT, and it's a very expensive NFT indeed. And I actually watched one of the AMAs with Bitbender, I think he's called, who is the CEO of Gala Games, and he was talking about some really crazy functionality for the holders of Spark tokens, and I think he mentioned, in fact, we'll read Hugo's response and then I can elaborate later. So Hugo says, Mirandus looks to be awesome, and we really support Gala's vision. We believe that representation and ownership of assets, even if they are virtual assets, is a key and revolutionary part of what blockchains offer. Gala is an ERC20 token today. I understand that they will be working to enable people to burn their Gala tokens on Ethereum and remint them on the Flare network. This would be especially useful for people who hold their Gala NFTs on Flare. And yes, so in Mirandus, you're going to have, it's sort of like an RPG or like an MMO, and you're going to have like swords and shields and houses and all this good stuff, and they're represented as NFTs. Now, the NFTs could be held as they are today on Ethereum network, but in the future, they're going to be held, or could be held, on the Flare network. Now, Bitbender was talking about those who hold NFTs on the Flare network will have special abilities, let's say, or maybe some sort of aesthetically different a different look if they're in this particular citadel. So that's very interesting indeed, and I'm looking forward to Mirandus. I've got high expectations. I'll definitely be producing some content on that too. Question 18, what is your personal opinion on the 888 NFT marketplace? Do you feel it will be revolutionary? Hugo says, completely. I know 888 and the team there well. They genuinely want to do good for the community. They work harder than anyone, and importantly, they have the support of many of the best artists in the space. And for those of you who don't know, 888 is a prolific NFT collector, and yeah, they're launching this 888 The New World. Very exciting indeed. It's going to be an NFT marketplace, and I'm very intrigued to see what they're coming up with. We also have the Sparkles platform too. So we're going to see how that goes. It's great to have that diversity, I guess. Question 19. Is Flare Network scheduled to launch after the final security audit in late September? Is the end of October a launching goal to expect? No more dates, very wise. Sorry, Flare will launch after reasonable testing of the Flare core protocols on Songbird. And again, this is something that I'm stressing in this flow diagram that I'm actually going to release tomorrow. So in the latest blog post with Songbird, they did actually say that the launch is based on thorough testing of the Flare core protocols, and that's the FTSO and the F asset systems too. And once the audit tests have completed. Now, the audit tests are due to be completed in September, but you've also got to realize that this is an external factor. The Flare team don't have any control over when the auditors finishes their audit. So that's an external factor which is not in control of the Flare network. And also, and most importantly in my eyes, is that the Flare core protocols are thoroughly tested, because we don't want to release the Flare network with holes in it. We want to release it at the most optimal time. A few more questions here. Oh, there's a lot of questions. Okay. If you guys are willing to listen, I'm willing to read through them. So maybe we can go through these a little bit quicker. So, hi Hugo, once Spark... Well, let me just check. I missed a question right there. Okay, question 20. Flare Network has announced many great partnerships up until now. Are there any other partnerships that haven't been announced, possibly in a non-disclosure agreement? The rest of your questions are too speculative for me to answer. I don't have any concrete answer. So, very vague. I imagine there are. In fact, I'm already aware that Hugo said that there are many different projects coming. So, I guess stay tuned for that one. Hi Hugo, once the Spark vote has been delegated to the Flare Time Series Oracle, the remaining Spark token can be staked in the faster system. Is that correct? What are the rewards in? Can you provide additional info on that? On Songbird, the Songbird Time Series rewards are in Songbird, and on Flare, paid in Spark. So this is basically the inflation mechanism. If you delegate your rewards to a data provider on the Songbird network, you will receive the Songbird token. On the Flare network, you will receive the Spark token. Question 22. Hi Hugo, I just wanted to say on behalf of all the XRP community, you have been so supportive in the space, more so than many. You always take the time to answer even the most menial of questions, even if it's the same one over and over again. Hugo says, we ask you guys to engage with us on the premise of bringing utility. The least we can do is try to answer questions. And you know, I have to agree. Hugo does a great job communicating and really answering all these questions. He's done so many AMAs, and I imagine he's an extremely busy man at this time, especially approaching the launch. Question 23. I know this AMA is scheduled for late July, but I imagine this AMA is going to miss the deadline this quarter. Fear not, we will be simultaneously launching and airdropping a Canary testnet for this AMA soon as well. See, it's nice to see Hugo has a sense of humor. This is very funny. That's a little joke there for anyone that's disappointed that you're getting another airdrop because of the Songbird network. We can skip some of these. You know, where should you... Yes, why should we believe that we will ever get the Spark tokens or other coins from you people when you shift the goalposts constantly? You don't have to believe, but they will be distributed when the Flare and Songbird network goes live. You know, I really can't. Yeah, I appreciate that, Moonchicken. I was about to do the same. I really can't stress this idea of an estimate. So an estimate is. It's almost like a guess. They've never said we're launching on this date. They never said we promise we're going to give you your Spark on this particular date. They had this estimate, and estimates can change. That's what an estimate is. Okay, I don't want to beat around the bush on that one too much. Are there any data on the emissions per transaction on Flare compared to other blockchains? So this generation of blockchains, Proof of Stake, Federated Byzantine Agreements, Ripple, and Flare, are broadly similar emissions which are lower than Proof of Work. And we know Proof of Work is becoming a real problem, and people often sort of dispute this fact by saying, I'll tell you the craziest thing what I've heard, okay? There's a big Proof of Work crowd that often say, Proof of Work is good for the environment because it's allowing faster acceleration of greener energy, which to me is just completely ridiculous. But yeah, in general, FBA, Federated Byzantine Agreement, is very energy efficient. Explain Songbird and mainnets. Explain different tokens and their distributions on each network. And this is again the flowchart that's coming tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Songbird and Flare will run the same consensus algorithm. The algorithm uses a form of federated Byzantine agreement. A unique node list is formed from validators who provide state proofs to Fleur about events on underlying chains, XRP Ledger, XLM, Litecoin, Dogecoin, etc. Basically, the F assets. The best validators to do this are the validators and miners from those chains. Each node on the network may then deviate from the unique node list by 20%. And this deviation from the unique node list creates what's called a quorum slice, where the unique node list is essentially the core of the validators and well-trusted validators, but you're also going to be able to include other validators, and that's how the network grows and becomes more diverse. The unique node list can be of arbitrary size. Validators are rewarded for providing state proofs. More info about the state proofs can be found here. And this is basically the state connector, which is monitoring both networks. And if you guys want any extra reading, feel free to read that. Songbird then is the canary network for Fleur. It will launch first and be used to test the Fleur core protocols such as the F asset and FTSO in a live environment that will likely have some value. The Fleur time series oracle, or the Songbird time series oracle, will be introduced then the F asset or S asset protocol. And once tested thoroughly, as we mentioned before, the Fleur network will launch. What are your thoughts on Sparkles? And yes, the NFT project, love it. I haven't actually had the time to talk with the people behind Sparkles, but I'm hoping to talk to them soon and see how we can support them. I really like the Sparkles team. As many of you know, I was actually honored to be a judge for the Sparkles NFT platform, and we gave away some XRP there too. I really do like the Sparkles team, and as I said, it's great to have numerous NFT platforms, just like you do with Ethereum today. You have, or the two big ones, you have OpenSea and also Rarible. And people like them both for different reasons. It's going to be interesting to see which one takes the market share. And I guess time will tell for that. And something that I would like to say, that Sparkles is actually doing a beta test, and this is going to be on the Coston testnet, or the general testnet. It's not going to hold any value whatsoever. So it's going to be completely risk-free. So for those who are already involved with that, that's something to look forward to. Question 29. For those who self-custody their XRP, when can we expect instructions? I believe that's a repeat question. We've already answered this one. Question 30. Hi Hugo, thanks for doing this. Questions in brief. Will holders of F assets be eligible for future turn airdrops of the underlying chain? Let's just go with that. No, there would be no way to get airdrops for an underlying F assets. The good news being that there is usually a very lengthy period of warning before the snapshot date. On balance, it is usually better to use a token for utility such as DeFi than to rely on airdrops. So this comes to a fundamental understanding of the F asset system. So when you mint an F asset, you give up custody of the originating asset. And let's just use XRP as an example. For you to mint FXRP, you have to send your XRP to an agent. Now, once you send the XRP to an agent, the agent owns the XRP, and you obviously don't. So it would be the agent who would be eligible for the airdrop, and you would receive the FXRP, and it would be done automatically via the state connector and various smart contracts. So that's what makes it trustless as well. So it's done automatically. But the good thing is, as Hugo said, these airdrops have a very lengthy warning and they give specific dates. You know, the airdrop is going to happen, or the snapshot is going to happen on this particular date. And that's going to allow you to, if you want to participate in the airdrop, you can redeem your F assets for their original asset. So you could say, I've made some money with DeFi with my FXRP, and now that the snapshot is coming up, I'm going to redeem my FXRP for XRP, and then you're holding it in your own custody, which I would highly recommend. The snapshot takes place, and then if you wanted to, you could bring that XRP back over to the Flare network and continue using these various DeFi products. Okay, 31, last but not least, what other networks would people like to see integrated with Flare and why? And this is, okay, this was asked by Hugo. Okay. I like Cardano and how it functions. Yes, they took a long time just to have native tokens and no smart contracts yet, but everything feels well thought and is a new approach with the smart contract language one today. And Hugo says, agreed, Cardano is definitely going to be the subject of a governance vote for integration. And as I said before, I've very public with my speculation that I believe Cardano and also Algorand are definitely looking likely to be some of the first F assets to be integrated via governance voting. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm aware some of you may have already read through this, but I thought it would be great to do this live stream to sort of bring it to the attention of those who do not. So with that being said, Scarbo as well, I don't want to keep you up. I know it's late for us guys in the UK here. So I think I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm going to hang about for 5 minutes after the live stream's ended in case any of you guys have any more questions. But apart from that, I hope everyone's having a great week so far. And I would like to give another big shout out to all those who donated. Very generous of you guys. And yeah, that's it. Definitely look out for the video that's dropping tomorrow as well. This flowchart that I have. So with that being said, guys, thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, I'm out.
Mission Control, we have liftoff.